And what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Bearded Browns podcast this morning. My co-host Angel. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up? You are alive. You made it.
I feel a lot better today, man. That was a rough 2 weeks. Ever since I left that Baltimore Ravens game, pretty much going to say I've been sick since.
Yeah, it was probably the best game of the year, and it left you feeling like you should have felt after last week's game.
Yeah. Oh, I still felt sick after that game. That goes without saying. But we got a big bye Browns week this week, and I think we already lost, obviously, from the feeling of the fans.
Yeah, the fans are feeling like it's done. Oh, I mean, pretty much your season is probably done, but there's so much to look forward to. You do have a 0.5% chance of making a playoff, so there's a little hope, but I get why the fans feel the way they do. They're discouraged. Their savior didn't save them last week. Exactly. They don't feel like Jameis is the answer, even though we were trying to tell them it's Jameis Winston, guys. Let's get real here.
Let's get it going. I do want to announce that we opened up a Discord channel, and a buddy of the show, Kyle's going to help us run that. You could actually call into the show if you want. You can leave us messages.
Wait. They can call in and leave messages. Listen, you can call in during the game. Give us your take in the moment when you feel emotional, when you feel a little inebriated, full of, that juice, and we may play it.
And we'll be here to talk about it. So if you want, you could join the chat. There's a couple sections in there where you could talk Browns all day long with us and other people. It's also free. It's completely free. You could download it on Android, Apple, PC, Mac, everything. It's completely free. The link is actually down below. And it'd be kind of cool to have some guests on the show to vent as of right now.
What's even better about it is it's in-game chat. So we'll be on there during the game, and we can all just talk about how Ken Dorsey's calling a bad game, or how is it that Denzel Ward missed an assignment 4 plays in a row. I mean, it's a great time, you know what I mean? And then we get live interaction whenever the Browns make a move in the offseason.
I do want to talk about that. Those 2 plays that got blown up last week, was he supposed to be playing cover 2, cover 3? We'll never know. But was he supposed to have the slot guy and Juan Thornhill supposed to be playing in the backfield and cover that? Who knows?
I think the issue is, regardless of whose fault that is, the communication issue is still there 10 games into the season. And that's scary. And on top of that, you've had a season or a season or 2 where you've had this defense together anyway. So why do you have two huge blown miscommunications happen on huge moments of the game? That's the annoying part.
And that brings us up to the next point, the quarterback issues. Obviously, everybody's got complaints. When we beat the Ravens, it was fine. Everybody's like, this is our guy, when he could have almost thrown 3 interceptions that game as well. That's why I'm wearing today's shirt as a Flack around and find out shirt. There's similarities between I almost said Deshaun Watson. There's similarities here between Joe Flacco and Jameis Winston. Obviously last year Joe Flacco brought like this big hype to the city and the fans, and everybody loved him. We know this. It's just Jameis Winston is pretty much the same guy.
Yeah. I mean, we'll dive into the stats later to kind of prove it, but it is like, it's easy how a win can make you forget about so many issues that happened in that Baltimore game and how fortunate the ball bounced your way. It's kind of like last year, we had a great season because a lot of times the ball bounced our way. You had a San Francisco kicker miss a kick and you beat San Francisco. You happen to have a guy who's sitting on the couch come in and just ball out. Your offensive line was great up to when injuries, bugs start to come in. And it seemed like whoever got hurt and whoever they replaced him with was a perfect fit, and they knew everything right away as far as schematics, and there was no faults outside of that horrible playoff game. And this year's is just that exact opposite. You know, you have issues, you have injuries, you have offensive line not learning how to line up yet. 10 weeks in the season, and you have those miscommunications that are just blowing away the game.
I mean, not only that, we were playing against one of the top 5 defenses last week.
And that's another point no one talks about, right? There's like, how could they suck so bad? It's like, well, I mean, you're playing the top 5 defense.
Right.
That you went from playing one of the worst passing defenses in the league to playing the top 5. I mean, top 5 rush and pass. I mean, they're balanced.
Right.
So regardless of what you have done, would have been prepared for it.
Yep. And I'm so sick of let's see DTR. I want to put DTR out there. Like, yeah, the guy's a preseason hero, but other than that, that's about it. I mean, it's easy to play against second and third stringers in the preseason and look good. 4th stringers even. It's just not our guy yet. Let him develop a little bit more, and maybe.
I don't know. I think he's too small too, man. I need somebody like not to bring him up again, but Flacco, like someone big. You know what I mean? Someone 6'5", 6'6", 200 and something pounds with an arm, who's accurate, who can read the defenses occasionally. Now, not perfect, obviously, because Flacco wasn't perfect, nor was he his whole career, but he still was able to pull out games because and there was just something about him that made him that next level good in moments of need.
Yeah. We have plenty of those moments of need, it seems, this year, especially.
Yeah, Kyle said on Facebook, I think people slept on the Chargers this year. People don't realize they aren't the same as they were a few years ago, or even last year. I agree, Kyle. I think the reason why they slept on them is because they got off to a slow start because the quarterback was injured with the ankle, so they weren't playing as good. But the reason why they were winning was because of that defense, number 1 scoring defense in the league. Yeah. And that's something that a lot of people, just like Kyle said, whiffed on totally. And I think we said that on the Saturday show before the game. It's like, this defense is pretty good, man. I don't know if Jameis is going to come out and ball out like he did against Baltimore. No, again, I didn't think we were getting blown out that much, but we did.
Oh, we did. The thing I really do want to talk about, though, is the comparison between Jameis Winston and Joe Flacco. Last year, we all saw Joe Flacco, obviously with a majority of a better offensive line. There's always this weird sound going on in my house, always, yeah. Never fails. That was actually my stepson dropping his iPad. That was awesome. Anyways, the difference isn't much.
It isn't.
You obviously seen both guys play. We had a horrible loss last week. But the interceptions are a thing with both of these quarterbacks. As of right now, Jameis Winston threw 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
And Flacco has 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little bit different, but he's played more as well.
Yeah, he has. He's played more. But here's the deal, like, he's played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games this year. And the only game that he's thrown for over 200 yards was against Jacksonville. It's Jacksonville, right? Minnesota, only 179. Tennessee, the Titans, he's thrown for 189. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I could see why, because their defense is good, is 168.
I like Jameis Winston better than I do. Excuse me. I like Jameis Winston better than Deshaun Watson. As of right now, as everything sits right now, I think Jameis Winston's the guy that's going to take a risk, and that's what happens when you take risks as interceptions happen. But you see Jameis Winston throwing passes that you would never see Deshaun Watson try to throw.
Yep.
And I don't know if he's just being too conservative with the ball. Is that a thing? Obviously you don't want to throw picks, but sometimes you have to.
Yeah. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think he is trying. Oh, he's overthinking for sure. He doesn't want to make a mistake because he knows if he makes a mistake, fans are going to boo him. and he doesn't want to be booed because he wants to be liked so much. And that's getting in his head. And that was the biggest concern we said on this show. And that's something I'm proud of. We stood on that rock, on that soapbox, saying, we're not worried about his physical attribute. We're worried about his mental state. And his mental state has not improved at all this year at all. There are signs where you thought, wow, that was a great pass. Wow, that was a great read. But then again, mentally, he's just not there. And I don't think he's going to ever get there again.
Right.
Unfortunately.
And I don't want people to say,
right.
I don't want people to say that the offensive line wasn't blocking for him, because the offensive line hasn't been there all year. We actually just played, I think the Ravens game was the game where we actually had all starters on the line.
Yeah.
So that's going to help us in the long run. PFF scores show otherwise, but the line seemed a little more there. He seems like he has a little more time. And you want to know why? Because I think Jameis Winston likes to be a pocket passer.
He is.
That's huge. He can line up behind center. Play action always works for the most part for us. I mean, we have to figure out how to utilize that correctly. But play action, when you have a quarterback lining up behind center, every single play looks so much better. Gives you a couple more seconds maybe in the pocket. Not a couple seconds. A couple milliseconds, I guess.
Yeah, milliseconds.
But a lot of people don't realize how fast a play actually takes to for people to get open. It's very quick. That ball needs to be gone within 3 seconds, maybe sooner if you can. So that's something.
And I think you brought it up a couple of weeks. Oh, actually during the Ravens game that he was getting the ball out a lot quicker. Now, if you notice the Chargers game, because their defense is more complicated and they're better, he was patting that ball. So he took longer to execute or even to read the play, maybe a second or two more. And that's why his sacks were up. That's why his incompletions up and his interceptions were up, because he was second guessing himself. He wasn't getting that ball out quicker. So you're right on that. Like what Watson, he held on to that ball. Was it 4.23 was average for him?
Yeah.
Definitely was in the fours. I think Winston and Baltimore, his average was like 3 seconds. He was getting it out quick.
I think it was like 3.23 or something.
Yeah,
it was way quicker.
That's something to look at. And I know fans, like, this is a deeper stat you need to look into when it comes to talking about how good your team is. But if he gets that ball out quicker, I wonder how much more that attribute to wins as opposed to holding on to the ball, especially in the Ken Dorsey, Kevin system.
Right.
Brandon said, do you think the NFL on Facebook said, do you think the NFL should make the Haslam sell the Browns and start over like they did the Commanders?
No.
You can't make somebody sell their business. That's un-American for one, right? That's like saying, hey, we love America, we love what we stand for, but we're going to force somebody to sell their business. Like the reason why the NFL made the Washington Dan Snyder sell his business, because there was a lot of essays going on. There was a lot of predatory environment going on, and there's a lot of backlash from him in general. So they forced him because he realized, you know what, this is not a good vibe. My name's getting ran in the dirt. So he sold it, right? And also too, just because you get a new owner doesn't mean your team's going to be good. Let me give you an example real quick. How are the Carolina Panthers are doing? And they had the richest guy in the world running that team, the Walmart dude, right? A new owner is not, and I don't think the owner is the issue. Look at what the owner's doing. I'm sorry, I'm on my soapbox. This has got to be a quick show today too. This is a horrible topic to talk about in a bye week. Yeah. This owner has sold in to Berea and Brook Park. He's dumping his own money, rejuvenating that whole area, and you want him to be forced to sell a team that he's trying to win. He's not penny pitching here. Now, is he making mistakes along the way? Sure. But I also think he's learning from it. I don't think he's ever going to do this Deshaun Watson deal again with anybody. He's going to learn from it.
Yeah, you can't guarantee money like that again. I would have to agree.
You do not force any NFL owner to sell. That's un-American. It's like me going to your place of business, Brendan, if you're running like a yard business and cutting grass, and I'll come and say, hey, your neighbor didn't like the way you cut the grass. Actually, two neighbors. we're going to force you to sell your business because you suck at cutting grass. Like that, it's insane to me.
And I agree with everything he said. The guy is seriously invested so much into not only Cleveland as a fan base. One, you're not going to sell because we have the best damn fans in the land. They'll always be showing up to games. Nobody's going to literally, I mean, people might give out tickets, but people are going to still show up to the stadium no matter what. It's not going to sell. He will not. It's a big investment for him.
Yeah, why would he sell?
He wouldn't.
I mean, he put $2 billion buying it. Now that they're worth maybe double to triple the amount now, like that would be a horrible idea for him to sell, and he has no reason to.
Right.
He's building a beautiful park or multiplex in Berea here soon, where he's going to pump in a lot of money into the economy, and yet you're asking him to. You suck at cutting grass. You're asking him to, hey, I understand you have a vision to better the community, but because you made this mistake at sewing into a quarterback, by the way, he wasn't the only owner in that bidding contest. Atlanta was, Miami was. The only difference is he offered the most, which was silly on him. That's hindsight, right? We can say that now. Because if he was playing like the way he did in Houston, people would be like, oh my God, such a great deal. Because look, now he is worth all this money and get all these other quarterbacks who suck making more than him. So it's hindsight comments like that are just insane to me.
Yeah. Let's see if I can pull that back up. Let's get back to a conversation here.
Yeah, who would have thought this a free B show like this would calls around like that?
Kyle said, does the speed of releasing his passes get affected by the play calling? I felt like there was enough short routes called. Absolutely. It's check down guys. You have to be aware of who's going to be open and who's not. You got to be able to read a defense.
Yeah, that comes into getting a better quarterback. Now, we're not saying Winston is Peyton Manning, right? What we're saying is Winston's better than Watson as far as at least he knows where to go with the ball. At least he knows how to check the play, do a different play call. At least he knows how to do that. Now, what he doesn't know how to do is throw sometimes or lead the receiver or throw where only the receiver can catch it, okay? So if you get a better quarterback, quicker release, maybe those play calls look genius on paper.
Not only that, we have our next game is against the Saints. They're 2-7 as well. He's going to show up and ball against them.
Yeah, and then we're going to crown him again as being the next biggest quarterback in
how
Cleveland.
That vicious cycle works.
Yeah, it's the vicious pain of the Cleveland Browns fans. Like, we hate him, we love him. We hate him, we love him. We hate him. It's like, no, like he's your backup quarterback for a reason, right? So let's just enjoy the backup quarterback for now and hope that we're in a position to where we'll talk about this more on Tuesday at 7:30 on all platforms of where this team can go next. Okay. Now, one thing we're on this show is not losing. So I'm going to win at all costs. Now, I don't think there's going to be many wins along the way because I think the competition gets better after this, but we'll see.
Let's see. Marcus says Winston probably won't be here either, and I think he's referring to next year.
Yeah, next year. I would agree because I think Winston might want more money and the direction of the team might be different, but I'm hoping that can be saved because I think Winston would be a good bridge quarterback.
That can go a lot of ways, depending on who could be our offensive coordinator next year. Do you guys think Ken Dorsey's going to be here still?
I think they're bringing everybody back next year. Yes, because I there's an argument for that. This is not their fault as the thought process of the line sucks. Who would have thought Watson was going to do what Watson did? So I think they're going to come back and bring it back, and they're going to bring in a different quarterback. Marcus Donald has a TMD podcast. I'm saying it wrong. I know I am. We were talking about it earlier, and he brought up a good topic this past Thursday in his show about quarterbacks they can get. Maybe we can have him on the show and talk about that next Saturday before we preview the Saints. But I think there are options out there that the Browns can get that can be better than Winston, that can help them win and be a bridge quarterback for somebody that they can draft.
Yeah, it's good. How do you say, I think so. Before the trade deadline, a lot of things should have happened. I think we could all agree on that. We are the only team in the AFC North that didn't make a trade other than Zadarius Smith. We didn't fire anybody at all. Obviously, they're going to try to stick it out through the year, see what happens, see if people could maybe finally figure it out. The coaches and everything. It's been a ridiculous year when your roster says you should win almost every game. Almost.
At least those three that you lost, like outside of just Jacksonville, you barely won. But those other three, like you're like, now Washington, we had a win on paper, but then you look at Washington, you're like, man, that's why we lost, because Jaden Daniels is a beast, right? But you should have beat that Giants game. You should have won that Giants game for sure, and that Raiders game. That should have been 2 more wins on your record at least. But they didn't. They didn't.
Marcus says they're definitely having an audition, which
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, you can't expect, honestly. I had high hopes in the beginning of the season. I'm like, all right, new coaches, maybe everything will turn out as planned, and it completely backfired on us. And I think that's why a lot of fans are completely upset and want to say that they're done with the team, but it's Cleveland, folks.
You say that every year until next week, and when they win, and they're like, oh, he wrote me back in. And that's why I love doing the podcast. I'm going to tell you why. I used to be that fan, but I realized, actually a couple of years ago, after Baker, the whole Baker ordeal, and I realized, you know what? I'm investing too much emotion. I'm going to start being logical. And it helped me. I'm a recovering emotional Browns fan. And I'm telling you, I'm 2 years sober, man. It feels great.
All because of this show.
All because of this show. It's easy to talk about. It's easy. It's good to talk about when you have to go on a podcast and you guys somewhat be logical and emotional at the same time. I'm sure I have my emotional moments, but guys, this season is the season. It's a disappointing season. You had them at 10, 11 wins. Like, we're like, oh, we're going to the playoffs, and it sucks. But then you look at the bigger scope of it and you say, well, this is why their line stinks. They're actually getting, the receivers are improving every week. So let's talk about that. Let's be positive with that. Their running back situation, not so good.
Again, with the offensive line, though, you have to have a good line for the running backs to be good.
And I think that's the catalyst of this whole season that no one is talking about. And I think we'll probably talk about that more on Tuesday, but I think this line should be priority number one going into the offseason this year.
Yeah, I agree completely. We're getting trades, picks. We're getting picks. I'm not going to sit here and say throw away your season for a number 1, 2, or 3 pick. Try to win. Try to build some class. Try to build a winning organization still with what you got.
Yeah, and you can look at the lines as that, because I think when Dan Campbell got there, they lost. They were like 1-6 or 1-7 at one point, and they rattled off 6 straight wins going into next season, right? And then after that, they took off. They're the best team in you could say they're the best team in NFL right now, outside of Baltimore, because I think Kansas City's beatable. But they're good because they build that culture. They say, all right, we're 1-6. We can fold or we can learn how to win. And they decided to learn how to win. And that carried on to the next year.
Absolutely.
Many years after that.
So here, I want to point out this, though. This is kind of a funny little stat. If you think about it, in 2 games, Jameis Winston's thrown for 652 yards. In 2 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what that is? That's 3 games for Deshaun Watson.
That's crazy. Think about that. You had 3 games where he threw for that much. That's mind-boggling.
Oh, do you want to hear another?
Backup quarterback.
What's the other fun stat that we heard about yesterday?
Oh yeah, Borquez. I think I saved it. Did I save it? Watch me not save it. Our kicker has more. Yeah, I didn't save it, of course. Our kicker. Oh, I did. Thank God, I'm smart. Corey Borquez has 2,600 yards and 50 punts. He's averaging 289 yards a game. Okay. our Browns offense has 2,470 yards. For those that are public school kids like me, 2,600 is a lot more. Well, more than 2,470 yards. That's our offense. 2,470 yards of offense. They had 586 plays compared to 50. And their average is 274 yards a game. Your punter is kicked more than your offense has produced all year.
We still haven't had a play over 40 yards, our offense. Not one. Our highest right now is 38, and that was because of Jameis Winston. And I believe that was a touchdown pass to Cedric Tillman at the Ravens game.
That's weird world we live in, man. The Browns have problems, and if you think it's just on the offensive side, then you're not watching football.
Yep.
There's some miscommunication issues happening on defense. I think the only person that has been consistent all year are two people, and one of them has been hurt, and that's JOK. It's Miles.
That kind of kills the defense as well. JOK.
Yeah, JOK being out stinks. And JOK at time we're inconsistent because there's a couple plays that he would miss tag. He'd fly in, but he'll miss the tag. You see like a bullet just pass.
Same with Emerson as well.
Yeah, Emerson, to me, we can't talk about this. This is going to be Tuesday show. See, Tuesday show, we're going to talk more about this. Well, basically, it's our halfway point, right? So we're going to talk about what the season is meant and what it looks like and what we can do to fix this stuff. So tune in Tuesday, 7:30 live on all platforms. But Sam said, I said the line was a big problem at the beginning of the season. They had problems before the season even started. And I feel like Chad's bet was on that. I feel like he was. And shame on me for expecting too much from our line.
Well, you got to think we've always had a top 5 offensive line.
Exactly. That's what I got into. I'm like, oh, we'll be fine. We top 5. We top 5, dog. Dude, nope. And this year they come in looking like the bottom 5, and it's crazy. Exactly, and you're thinking like, what is one constant since '99? Our line. Yeah. It seemed like Joe Thomas in our line was a great top 5. I mean, this year has been so horrible.
Yeah. Speaking of Sam, Sam is going to be joining us again soon, hopefully. We're gonna get that figured out.
Yeah, I got that stuff, man. I got to meet up. I should have brought us at that Backers.
By the way, think about it.
Last Saturday we met up for the Berea Browns Backers Club at what was that bar? I know I'm going to say the wrong name.
The Grindhouse Tavern or Grindhouse.
Is it Grindhouse? Grindhouse Tavern. Yeah, Grindhouse Tavern. Yeah, we got to meet some cool people there.
Tap House, something.
Yes.
Grindstone Tap House.
Yeah, see, I knew it was in Grindhouse because I was saying Grindhouse, and that sounded not like a bar, but a different bar. Yeah, that was fun, man. We got to meet a couple people from here. Couple people from bigger podcasts around here from locally. Browns podcast. We got to link up with them and talk with them. That was a great opportunity. We got to hear them live and meet a couple of mascots and got a cool shirts that we're going to wear together soon, hopefully.
Met some fans all across the world from Canada.
Yeah. Canada.
A lot of people there.
It was cool because we were sitting there and one guy came up and was like, "Oh, you're the bearded brown guy." And he pointed to Mike because his beard's so long and white, like Santa-ish. So it was cool to see that. And it was just awesome to connect with other, creators like us that are just trying to decompress from a horrible Brown season.
Yeah, the guys from the Dogs are awesome. Here we go, Brownies. Dustin was awesome. Yeah. He was there.
Yeah, Dustin, I actually talked to him he probably got tired of me. He actually sat down and ate pizza with us.
Yeah.
I guess I was picking his brain from a podcast. I'm like, I have this opportunity. I'm going to pick everyone's brain. How do you guys... I started breaking down, asking questions. I'm grilling you. I got you for about 30 minutes, man. I started just asking
Eat
questions.
as much pizza as you want.
How can I get better as a podcast? It was my main topic of conversation with both of those guys. And we got a lot of good information out of there. And,
absolutely.
And it was great because it was so humbling that they weren't bothered by it. They were elated the fact that they were just giving out this information to us. And I'm like, yes, thank you. I love creators who aren't a high on a horse. You know, they're humble and they're offering free stuff.
Pete Barker said, should have come out and seen your UK boy in front of the show. Thank you for joining us, Pete. But yeah, that be, man.
Pete, you guys were all over when you were here, man. I thought, all right, let me go there. And he's like, hey, we're here. And I'm like, how the heck y'all get there that quick? Either I'm slow on my timeline or you guys are just quick. But
Them
yeah,
UK people are quick, man. They don't mess around.
Next time you come out, we do got to meet up. But yeah, I got to get ready to go. My daughter has her first gymnastics meet today.
That
first
sounds
ever. Yeah,
fun.
it's gonna. She's nervous. She's excited. And before I go, I remember I told you I was going to tell you this story at the show and during the show because I thought that we weren't going to have enough content, but obviously we did. I was at Giant Eagle in Strongsville yesterday, and I was getting ramen noodles for my wife. Don't ask why. I'm not allowed to say yet. But she as I was coming out, these two old men, they had to be about 60, 70, right? They had these huge trucks. They parked right by each other, which is weird. If I had a huge truck, I'd be parking like
a mile
in
away.
Egypt. Yeah. So you had this guy there. You hear him yelling and screaming. The guy's like, hey, you hit my truck. And I'm like looking at him. He's like, the other guy's like, I didn't hit your truck. He's like, yeah, you did. He opened his door. He's like, look, you dinged my window. He was like, and the guy realized he did, right? He's like, crap, I got caught. He's like, I'm not done with you anymore. Started going around and they started going at it with each other, like cussing and screaming. And then he's like, if you have a problem, come and fight. And I'm thinking like, these dudes about to fight. These dudes about 70 years old. Now, I had a trigger moment because my wife's grandmother fell and hit her head and she passed away a couple of weeks ago. So in my mind, I'm thinking, if these old dudes fight, someone's going to fall and hit their head. Right? Like, and that's not good. So I was like, hey, is it worth it? And they're like, whoa. And they're like, look, I was like, do you have grandkids? Yeah. Do you have kids? Yeah. Is it worth them finding out that you fell and hit your head because you're fighting over a ding window? I was like 3 weeks ago, my wife's grandma passed away because she fell and hit her head. Is that how you want your family to be remembered how you passed away? That you're fighting over somebody dinging your window? And they're like, oh, I didn't think about it that way. And I'm like, it's just a window, guys. Yeah, it's just a window.
Wait, how do you ding a window? Do they crack it?
Well, not a window. The
door.
The review mirror. Sorry, the side window door, side mirrors. So, and it wasn't. He dinged the plastic part, right? Not the glass. So I'm like, come on, man. Like perspective here. Like you guys are 70 years old. Like it's just a truck. And by this time, Giant Eagle's guy came over and he was like, y'all too old to be fighting. And they was able to calm everything down. So my point is, guys, it's just the Browns, man. Let's not lose perspective of life. Let's not lose family over the situation. If you have a bad Sunday, still talk to your wife and kids. Give them a hug. It's not worth it. Life is too short.
And then join us Tuesday.
Then join us Tuesdays and Saturdays to vent out your anger, not at your family.
You can let it all out.
Yeah. Yeah. We're here for you. Okay.
Oh, Jeff said he was going to come up and meet us, but he didn't want me to get him sick.
Yeah. Yeah. And he probably would have. He didn't get me sick. I ended up getting something different, which I think I actually gave my daughter that. I had a little virus. I think it was, I had a little temperature fever here and there, and then it left. It was weird. It was like a 24-hour thing where I was sweating at night, got cold, and then I got up the next day and I was fine. It was totally weird. There's something going on. Yeah, I'm still congested, but hey, it's kids season. It's kids go to school and they get sick season, and I hate it.
2 weeks for me, and it's not completely even gone yet. But yeah, that's it. Thank you everybody for joining us today. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, share button. Follow us on YouTube, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call that. We're there as well. And
join us on Discord too.
Yes,
Browns on Discord.
Everybody, like I said, it's free. Discord is free. You can download it on your phone, your computer. You can get in there. We got Browns chat, Browns news, game day chat, AFC North news, and you can call into the show and be live with us.
Listen, I wonder who's going to be our first voicemail. We'll show it Tuesday. You guys can listen to it Tuesday, hopefully.
Yes, and then plenty of stuff coming up for us. Whether or not the Browns are losing or winning, we're here for you. We are here. But yes, join us Tuesday, 7:30, live right here. We will see you.